everyone, Amer back with another Mission Impossible video. I apologize, I've been kind of absent for a little while. Lots of things going on in my life that I've just had to deal with, but wanted to kind of try and get back on track and finish off some of these videos. Certainly, definitely want to get through the best of the female agents, and so I'm going to focus on doing that right now just to push things forward. This time we're talking about the lady who's number 2 on the overall list of the Mission Impossible female agents, and that would be Jane Badler. So Jane Badler is still active in the entertainment business. She'll turn 70 this year and looks great. I know her at least, from back in the 80s, the mid 80s, when she was on the show V, if you remember that, as the very scary villain Diana. Without getting too much into that series, it was basically about a world where aliens who were actually reptiles, made themselves look human, were invading Earth with a nefarious plot to kind of take over and eat all the humans and so forth. And Diana was the main villain amongst the visitors, as they were called. And yeah, Jane Badler did a fantastic job in that one. She scared the heck out of me. I can tell you that. But that was her job. And she was mean and she was nasty. And that's exactly what the producers needed her to be. Then, after that show didn't quite take off the way that people expected it to, she did a stint on Falcon Crest for a year, which is one of my favorite soap slash dramas, primetime dramas, I guess you could say, from back in the 80s. It was often overshadowed by shows like Dallas and Dynasty, but I found Falcon Crest to be great in a whole lot of ways compared to those shows. And on Falcon Crest, for the year that she was there, mostly in 1987, she had to hold her own, and she did, with stalwart actors like Jane Wyman and David Selby. And she was quite impressive during her tenure on that show, including some awesome 80s hair, which is, yeah, that's something to see. She was also, interestingly, I did in my research, she was Miss New Hampshire in 1973. And there's a link right here to a video that you can find online to see her at that age when she was between the ages of 19 and 20. She moved to Australia when she got brought on for the Mission Impossible revival, when it became clear that a replacement was needed for Terry Markwell. And I've already discussed how that situation went down and what we can kind of surmise from what happened. She met her husband, Stephen Haynes, there while filming the show. Given that she had experience on this type of show before, she fit in so well. She and Stephen Haynes had 2 sons, one of whom tragically passed away in 2020. She's still singing in clubs and acting. And as she's active, she's not easy to contact, as you have to go through her agency as a gatekeeper, and that is really difficult to do. I've looked online for her discussing her time on Mission Impossible. I haven't been able to find anything yet. There have been interviews where she's talked about being on other shows such as V and Falcon Crest and other work that she's done in Australia and her singing and whatnot. She is my favorite lady from the show. I've said that many times. Had there been a 3rd season to the revival, had there been a complete 2nd season, let's say, and had there been a 3rd season in some way, shape, or form, I might have made a case that she should be considered for the number 1 spot. Probably not successfully, that she would kind of supplant Barbara Vane. That probably would have taken many seasons, but I would have probably tried to make the case. However, given her time on the show, it was basically the equivalent of 1 season. Maybe a little bit more than that. And like all of the other female agents, she gets kind of the usual deal in terms of her tenure on the show. In some episodes, she is just a placeholder. In some, and is just kind of there along for the ride because she's part of the cast. Two good examples of that would be Reprisal and Countdown, where we have other, other women on the show who need to be kind of showcased a little bit, so Jane has to take a bit of a backseat. In a lot of other episodes, she's just part of the team. And in that kind of episode, there everybody does something. Some people get to do a little bit more than others. Occasionally, she'll get a little bit of an above average role in terms of on screen time. But in a lot of episodes, and we saw a lot of this towards the end, I think, of season 2 and in the middle of season 2 of the revival, she really doesn't do a whole heck of a lot except just to be in trouble or to be a damsel in distress, really. And two good examples of those would be Deadly Harvest from season 2, where she's on screen a fair bit and she has kind of a prominent role, but it's really kind of an adjunct to Thal Penglis's character, and she's just really there to get into trouble. Another good example would be Cargo Cult. Similar kind of thing. She's part of the mission. Circumstances cause her to be kind of pushed forward a little bit in terms of the amount of attention that she gets. But, in terms of, contributing to the plot and to the mission, there's not a whole heck of a lot. Moving on to 10 episodes that I would say where Jane Badler is above average in terms of the performance that she's allowed to do. We know what she's capable of. It's obvious what she's capable of when given the opportunity. But here we go. So number 10 would be the episode Banshee. This was a little bit of a tough choice for me. She's above average here, just like she is in a lot of other episodes like Deadly Harvest and Cargo Cult that I mentioned. But here, she gets to have some fun. She gets to sing a little bit, and it's a little bit different than just the usual kind of thing. And also, she gets to be featured as the titular Banshee of the episode, and she does that pretty effectively as well. So I think it deserves to be at least on this top 10 list. Number 9, I would say, would be the episode Bayou. In this one, she plays kind of a spiritual medium / tarot card reader, and fills a lot of different kind of spots within the episode where it's necessary, kind of as the plot demands. And this one is an above average plot where the IMF often has to kind of pivot a little bit depending on what they find out. And I see shades of the old Mission Impossible where Barbara Bain often had to do that. Like, if things are going in one direction, so she has to go this way. And then she has to kind of cut this way because of circumstances that happen and so forth. So I think that this one is definitely a good outing for Jane. Another good one for Jane that I'll put at number 8 is the late season 2 episode called The Gunslinger, or just Gunslinger. Here, again, above average, she's part of the team, but she gets to have a little bit of prominence by being able to kind of do some recon work, and she's in, the saloon where the setting takes place, and is able to get some unique work done by the fact that she's there and that she's a woman. Moving on to number 7, another late season 2 episode, For Art's Sake. Same kind of deal as that. Here, she's above average. She's got that 80s hair going on like nobody's business in this one. And in here, she gets to directly work the mark. She gets to directly interact and manipulate the target that the IMF is going after to push the action forward so that the rest of the team can kind of fill in the blanks. Very kind of Barbara Bain-esque role for her in this one. Number 6, I would put The Golden Serpent at number 6. This is one where it's the two-parter, obviously, of the revival series. So, it's more action and there's more to do for all of the IMF members. But Shannon definitely makes the most of her minutes in this one. Again, same kind of deal, kind of like Bayou, where she's got to fill in a lot of roles here and there and be able to think on her feet in order to complete the mission because she gets separated from the rest of the crew for a while. So this is a really, really good role for Shannon Reed and by extension Jane Badler here. Number 5, I'm going to give this one to the season 2 episode, The Princess. This is a big one. This is where Shannon takes a bullet. And so she doesn't, for part of the episode, she's absent. And for part of the episode, she's in a hospital bed and whatnot. But her role is so prominent here that I've just got to put this one high up on the list because we see that she can really fill in a big role on this team, and she's not there just for the ride as some of the other female agents have been over the years. Number 4, her first full episode on the show, The Fixer from season 1. This mission is where we really see Jane Badler establish herself as a presence on the team. She has a very, very vital role in working the Marks' assistant in kind of their separate and mislead plot of sorts. She's very, very effective in this one. And as I think I said from the outset, really establishes herself as, I'm here, I'm part of the team, watch out for me. I love watching this one, and I love Jane Badler in this episode. Number 3, I'm going to give to the season 2 episode, Command Performance. This is the one where Jane plays up her sexuality the most. There's no question about that. She absolutely gets to be the babe in this one in a way that I can't recall any of the other ladies doing it to this level. There might be some exceptions, but I don't remember it in terms of like overt on-screen sexuality. And she is really the driver of a lot of the plot in this one up until the end where the IMF just basically have to make an escape. But she's the one who does the prominent work in terms of getting there. Number 2 and number 1, I'm pretty sure you know which ones that they're going to be. It's pretty obvious if you have seen the episodes. I had to give it a little bit of thought and say which ones and how am I going to rank these. But I have decided to give number 2 to Target Earth from season 2. I commented in the review for this episode, which you can find here, that this was Jane Badler's finest hour. I think I was premature when I said that. It is definitely a tour de force for Shannon. It is her best moments in terms of just having moments and kind of those the fist pumping moment. Yeah, you're gonna get that here in Target Earth because Shannon's role is awesome in that one. But I'm gonna give number 1. I'm gonna give the nod to the second last episode, Church Bells in Bogota. This is the most meaningful episode for her. It's certainly the best outing for Jane Badler from a pure acting standpoint and from a pure emoting standpoint. So I'm definitely going to say that this was her finest hour. Now that I've made that list, I'm looking back at some of the episodes that I left out, and I'd say to myself, yeah, you know what? It's kind of a toss-up between a lot of them. I can definitely see if somebody were to say, and please, I would appreciate your comments about this, if you think that, boy, hey, what about the season 1 episode, The Plague? Yeah, she was not bad in that one, and she had an above-average role. I just think the other ones that I mentioned gave her a little bit more prominence. But yeah, your mileage may vary certainly towards the bottom of the list, as we've only got about 20 or between 20 and 25 episodes to choose from. So picking 10 out of that is, not it's rather subjective, shall we say. But I'm happy with this list. That said, I would like to hear your comments about what you think about this list and the other videos that I've made. Almost to the end here, I'm working on the final episode in this series, or the final video, I should say, in this series, which is talking about the best of Barbara Bain. And boy, do I have a lot to say about Barbara Vane and her tenure on the show and all sorts of things about Barbara. So I have begun that one, and it's basically kind of almost ready for post-production. So please look out for that one. As always, please leave your comments. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I very much appreciate the increase in likes and comments, and especially subscriptions that I have been seeing. Thank you all so much for your attention to this channel. I very much appreciate it. As I've said multiple times, this is a labor of love for me. Thank you again, and I will see you next time with the next video.